Hey, what's up? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Another great day sucking fat for us, making people skinny. Uh, Today I'm going to be answering any questions that you might have on liposuction, fat transfer, BBL, how to eliminate that hanging belly without a tummy tuck. These are all things that are possible, and you may go to other places that tell you that it's not possible. You need a tummy tuck, and I'm here to tell you that there are other options, and so you need to just watch and learn. You can see all the pictures behind me. You will see are with no tummy tucks, no tummy tucks, and yet the skin always retracts back, and we get amazing results. Even if you have stretch marks, even if you've had multiple kids, even if you've had loose skin, you lost weight. Now there are some limitations on what's possible for each individual. However, I think the uh, the reality of what can be done with this procedure is going to far exceed what you believe. Let's see. Shelly says, I'm so dying to get a consultation. Well, don't die. We have our consultations that if you're, in a rush, you can, pay $100 for the paid consultation, the expedited consultation, and we'll get you in the next few days. And we can get you scheduled for the procedure fairly quickly. So there is hope. You can get it done. I hope everyone had a fantastic holidays and safe. I know, this coronavirus thing's spreading around and everybody's getting sick. From my understanding, it's not as bad as the original variant. So hopefully everybody's getting through this okay. We've had a good week helping individuals. The reason why I really, really love doing what I do is I have the opportunity to find people like you who have struggled with weight and they've tried diet, they've failed exercise, they failed multiple diets over the years. In many cases, it's this up and down, yo-yo weight, your diet that you're not able to get control and feel like you are who you want to be. And so if you're ready to change, at some point you get to this point in your life when you're so sick and tired of being sick and tired, and living with this big belly or restrictive fat. At some point it starts to cause health problems, so you get high blood pressure, potentially diabetes, uh, and it's limiting. It's physically limiting. You can't bend forward and touch your toes. It may be difficult to find clothes that fits you properly, and you may have to get some of those just what do they call elastic type clothes, just because that's all that fits you properly. When in reality, you want to cover up, and so nobody can see you because you don't like what you see. So when you're sick and tired of that crap, when your life is to the point where it's not worth living and continuing the way that you are right now, and it's time to change. That's the point. It's like that right at that point, when I want to connect with those individuals, and I want you to come to me, because liposuction for so many individuals has been this catalyst that pushes you over the edge and gets you those quick results. However, you have to couple those quick results with change in lifestyle, change in habits, eliminating the bad stuff in your life, and adding in good habits. All this stuff has to happen, all at once, and you can get a huge, dramatic, life-changing transformation that can happen fairly quickly for you. But you have to be committed to it, and it comes down to a decision. You have to make the decision that today is the day. I'm gonna change, and I'm so sick and fucking tired of this bullshit. And when you get to that point, and I'm cursing to make a point here, when you're so sick and tired of it, and you're ready to change, that's when you got to make some drastic change. And it's never easy. Look, life transformations are not easy, or else everyone would have done it. Everyone would have done it. Why wouldn't you? It's not easy. It's going to be a challenge all along the road. It's not easy to get over those cravings that you have. I know it. It's not easy. It's not easy to get up early in the morning and work out, go to the gym, or go run or go walk or do whatever exercise that you like to do. It's not easy to do that stuff. It's painful, in fact. It's not easy to have confidence, to get up every day and go do the things that you need to do, especially when you don't feel good about yourself. That's not easy, but you got to do it. So at some point in your life, you make these decisions that enough is enough and it's time to change. And when you make those changes, you have to make drastic changes. And it's important that you're really committed to it. And how do you get so committed to it? Because how many times have you started, I'm going to do this diet, my New Year's resolution, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And you go and you lose 20 pounds by doing some crazy diet where, you're eating like bananas only and water for, a month, and you lose your 20 pounds, great. But then you're like, I can't keep eating bananas the rest of my life. So you go back to eating your regular food, and then sure enough, that weight comes right back. So it's not about any diet. There's no one particular diet that's going to work for you. You have to change your lifestyle, because it's not just a short period of time where you lose the weight and then you can go back to your old lifestyle and keep doing the same thing, and you'll keep off the weight. It doesn't work that way. You have to change everything about it, because whatever you have been doing cumulatively in the past has led you to where you are now. So you have to change the things that you do, and whether that's the types of food that you eat. And in many cases, it's more important to eliminate stuff that's not good for you than it is to try and figure out what's good for you. It's way easier to just figure out, hey, I know that processed sugar is not good for me. I know that those processed foods aren't good for me. I know that the stuff that the foods that are toxic to me. Perhaps you might be allergic to some type of food. Maybe it's glutens. There's this big crave about the gluten allergies, and maybe you have gluten allergy, maybe you don't. But it's worthwhile in just trying to cut out glutens for a period of time to see how your body does. And many of these philosophies and beliefs about the type of diet that you want to eat, many of those things you're never going to find one that's right for you and it's perfect. It doesn't work that way. And typically, just because it's worked for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So you can't anticipate or expect that. But rather, what the mindset must be is that you try, and if it doesn't work, you try something else. And if that doesn't work, you try something else. But the big key here is it has to shift and change. It can't be slightly different or a little bit different. It's got to be a big change. And if you make a big dramatic change, then it's obvious and easy to see the results that you're getting. Now, I made, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but it's like I got results. However, I tried a lot of different things all at once. And when you do that, it's kind of hard to see what is working for you. But that's just the way I roll. That's the way I do things. And you don't have to do that. Many people, it's hard to do a lot of different things all at once. So, implementing many habits, and most people, it would be easier to implement a single habit at a time. For example, if you're going to implement the habit of drinking more water, the recommendations are to drink half of your weight in ounces. So round numbers, if you weigh 100 pounds, you're going to drink 50 ounces of water per day. You weigh 200 pounds, you're going to drink 100 ounces of water a day. And, so gauge it like that. Now, when you decide to implement a habit like this, the first thing is you can't change that which you don't measure. So unless you start measuring and tracking, you won't be able to determine whether you're actually succeeding or not. So what I mean by that, and we'll use the example of water because it's easy, right? So you have to track the water that you drink for a period of time so it's believed that to create a habit, you need to continue with the discipline for 30 to 60 days is what most people believe. For me personally, I always push it to the 60 days, and where I'm very disciplined in sticking to the habit for 60 days. And then what I found is after 60 days, is if it works for me and I like it, it it just becomes natural, and I'll just continue on, and I don't even have to think about it anymore. So what you're actually doing is in your brain, every time you do a discipline like this, like every time you complete a day that you've drank, the amount of water that you wanted, it's like it's laying a strand to the rope, right? And you do that for 5 days, 10 days, and you got like 5 or 10 days under your belt. And then, so imagine those are strands to the rope. And as those strands gets thicker and thicker, 30 days, 60 days, all of a sudden you got a thick rope, and it can't be broken. And that's how the habits are formed. And so to me, it made sense logically in this analogy of using a rope, in that every time you do something, you're laying another strand, which strengthens the habit. So with the water, there are apps that you can utilize to track. They're free apps in most cases, and you manually have to enter in, like, how much you're drinking. So that may be a challenge for you, but if you don't track it, you'll never be able to tell whether you're accomplishing your goal. So highly suggest, if you choose to implement any habits, you got to try to track them, because the worst thing you want to do is develop a habit that doesn't really meet its full potential. So for example, if you said, I'm going to drink water for 30 or 60 days, but you never tracked it, you never kept track of every day how you drank the water, you may get in the habit of drinking less water than you need. And when you do that, and you just continue, then you're going to continue with your dehydration, and it becomes a chronic dehydration, because every day that you're dehydrated, it'll accumulate. It'll get worse and worse. And especially here in Vegas, it's desert. It's high desert, so it's super dry here. And most of the people that live in Vegas are chronically dehydrated. And what happens when you're chronically dehydrated? Why is it important? Well, our bodies are made up about 85% water. And water essentially is like the oil, the lubricant in our body that makes everything work. All of our body, all of the organs, the blood. Imagine if you had, if you're dehydrated and your blood is thicker than it normally is. What happens when your blood's thicker? It might clog up. What happens if it clogs up? You're talking heart attacks, aneurysms, bad stuff. And that's just simple, right? And especially as you're getting older, these become more of an issue, right? When you get into your 50s and 60s, if you're chronically dehydrated, imagine this. What happens to an apricot when it gets dehydrated? It shrivels up, right? What happens to a grape when it gets dehydrated? It becomes a raisin. What happens to a human when they get dehydrated? Okay, it's the same thing. You wonder why people are getting all wrinkled. It happens not because of the quality of the skin, or partially because of the quality of the skin, but they're getting dehydrated and everything is shriveling up. Think about it. If you never thought about it like that before, that's the way it works. And you're essentially dehydrating yourself, which leads to many of the problems that you're experiencing. Drinking enough water will suppress your appetite. What's up, my friend Omel from New York? Hope you're doing well. HNY. I'm guessing that's Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. Hope everyone's going well. Spiritual Gangsta. All right. Rare Beauty Janet. Nadiem. Spiritual Gangsta. So you're saying you can't hear me. Is there an issue on Instagram? If you guys can't hear me, then I guess you wouldn't be able to respond to that. Where do the prices start for this? So the prices, it really just depends on what you want. We charge per area. So for a single area, it's our minimum it's about $2,500. But every additional area beyond that is $1,299. And again, it just depends on what you're treating. If you're treating a larger area, then it's going to, it's going to be more expensive, obviously. So, and obviously, if you're larger as well, it's going to be accommodate. These procedures anywhere from, let's say, 6 to 10,000, depending on your size and what you want to treat. You want fat transfer. if you want. If you have looser skin and you're concerned about that, we use a Smart Lipo laser for skin tightening. All these are different costs, but it's we're pretty fair. And but here's the thing: is you won't have to get these procedures done again. You won't ever have to get a revision on the same area. You won't ever have to get liposuction in the same area. We do it right the first time, and I do a phenomenal job. You see these pictures up here with these, larger individuals where they come in and they have, like, look at this, how the fat's hanging over her bra, and she's not even that big. But I see this day in and day out, and I can't imagine, that she would like that, and that wearing tighter clothes and you have these like bumps, your speed bumps from the fat. It's embarrassing, I know, and what happens when you get embarrassed? How is your life being limited? That's the stuff that you can't really put a price tag on improving your body and improving, because it improves your confidence, and once your confidence is improved, it's like the sky is the limits for you. Your potential just exponentially increases. When you have the confidence to do anything, you have the potential to grow and advance and become whatever you want to become. Okay. Yeah, it's on the website. But ultimately, to know your price, to know how much it's going to be for you, you got to get a consultation. So we see pictures and we'll determine what's right for your body, and then give you an accurate quote for that. And the consultations, if you're on Facebook, it's up in the post. We have a link up there. On Instagram, they should be up in our profile, and then they're also on the website as well. What's up, Punk Ass 909? She had her procedure earlier this week. I hope you're doing well. Maybe you can share a little insight for these individuals here, help them out, maybe answer some of their questions. Punk Ass 909. Maybe talk a little bit about your procedure. Okay, so Izzy Pederez says, so the laser takes care of loose skin after liposuction. Yes, the laser is meant as an adjunct to liposuction. So it's used in addition to liposuction. So liposuction is a physical removal of the fat cells, and the laser is passed underneath the skin, and it's a wavelength of laser, which has been shown through studies that it stimulates collagen growth for about 6 months after the procedure. So as you're healing, your skin continues to get thicker and tighter, with a maximum benefit about 6 months out. But as you can see from the pictures, the skin retracts quite well. So the laser it helps, it improves. However, it's not doing all the work. A lot of the reasons why the skin is tightening up the way it is some of the techniques that we're doing in particular are allowing the skin to tighten up. And when I say that, like, literally you can see the skin tighten up immediately during the procedure. So there's no waiting 6 months to a year to see results. We're getting this is the technical term. We're getting a shit ton of fat out. So we get a lot of fat out, and when you do that, you have to see results. It's impossible not to. It's a law of physics. Once you take out a volume of fat, everything's going to shrink. It's just the way it works. And as an analogy, you can think of a water balloon. When you allow the water to go out of the water balloon, it always gets smaller. It always does. It's never going to, you're going to let out half the water and it stays the same size. That's never going to happen. And you know that. So why would it ever happen on the body, where we removed, 50, 60, 70, 80% of the fat that you have in there? If we remove that, it's going to be smaller. And that's why you see these pictures. And the reality is these people are getting, these results right after the procedure. You'll be small like this. Now, unfortunately, their body's natural reaction is to swell up. So if you can imagine, we take out this volume of fat, and it creates like a I'll call it a cavity or a space where the fat used to be, but that space doesn't remain there. What happens is we put compression garments on, it closes down the space, and when you close down the space, the body will naturally start to create scar tissue, and the scar tissue works kind of like glue, and it sticks everything together. So this is that same patient. You can see her progress photos. So immediately after the procedure, she's smaller, but then you can see she gets a little bit bigger because of the swelling. She's still swollen here. Then this is, she says today, but that's, I would say, let's say 2 months out after the swelling's diminished substantially. That's when you're going to start to see the long-term results. But you'll get an idea pretty darn quick what the results are going to look like. So that's the good thing. And the other amazing part of this procedure is that the removal of fat is permanent. All the studies say that fat cells don't reproduce. So if they don't reproduce, that means that even if you eat a bad diet, they're not going to come back in that area. Now, we never remove 100% of the fat cells, so you're still going to have some fat in there, which means that if you gain weight, it's still possible to gain weight in the same area. However, if we remove 80-90% of the fat cells, you only have 10 to 20% left, which means that in reality, it's almost impossible for you to get as big as you were before in the same area. Now, if we don't treat the other areas and you have fat cells, like say the breast, the arms, the chin, the legs, the thighs, the butt, and you still have fat there, then if you gain weight, so if you don't make the lifestyle changes that are appropriate, if you gain weight, then you will get bigger in other areas. And it will get thicker in the area that we treated, but it'll never be the same as it was before because the fat's gone. So my suggestion, what I've learned over the years, and 15 years of doing this, thousands and thousands of procedures, that the people that get the real results, the serious, amazing, life-changing results, are the ones that are ready to transform their life. And because it's more than just getting liposuction, it's more than just spending the money. You have to go through the process, and it's not easy. It's a healing process, but also it's a changing your lifestyle habits, changing your removing and eliminating negative habits in your life, and adding on positive habits. That's weird. There's only 2 comments on Facebook, and it's not even showing me that people are coming in.
You want to close up and try again?
Well, I don't know. It says there's 8 people. Is anybody there on Facebook? Are you guys hearing me?
It seems like only your friend is
Yeah.
replied and me.
If you guys if you can hear me on Facebook, could you please say something?
Just type in anything.
Yeah, just type in anything so we can see that you're there. What's up, Jersey? You really want this? It's an awesome procedure. It really is. I've had it myself. Okay. Of course you can ask a question, which you just retracted that. That's funny. I didn't even know they do that. It says message retracted. That's kind of odd. Okay, so Shelly says she's on Facebook and she can hear. What's up, Melanie? You can hear. All right. Well, guys, be interactive. I'm here to help. Ask questions. What can I do to help? And
I guess people are there. They're just quiet today.
Those of you who have had the procedure, share whatever it is, and if you want to talk, you want to ask questions, I'm sure you have questions as well at some point, because wherever you are in the stage of healing, there's always going to be more questions and concerns, and that this is what I'm here for. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to serve you and help however I can. So if you guys aren't asking questions, I'm really not going to want to be talking to these phones, because it might sound fun, but it's not. Oh, Dawn Kelly, another previous procedure. She had a procedure yesterday, and Kale and I changed her life in a few hours. Forever grateful. That's awesome. And Dawn, that's hearing stuff like that. That's really why we do these procedures. For us, it's so gratifying to be able to help an individual to transform their life. And I know that it's possible, and that's why I really want to connect with those individuals that are prepared and ready to transform their life. And I know, Dawn, after speaking with you, that you're making changes, and it's the question is just, are you able to stick to them? For all of our patients, right? Are you able to stick to it for the long term? And then the question becomes, how do you do that? Right? How are these individuals being successful 2, 3, 5 years, 10 years out? How are you continuing to do that? And the key that I found is to creating those positive habits. Now, habits are literally, it's like programming your brain to do things in a certain way. And although you may not realize it, you've already been programmed. All of us have. The question is did you program yourself, or did someone else program you? And in most cases, you were programmed by someone else, probably your parents, your teachers, your friends, in which case you mimicked or you copied or you did the same thing as those around you because you thought that that was normal, and in doing so, and sometimes you cause the problems. So when you create negative habits, you cause the problems. And a lot of us now are getting into our 40s and 50s and realizing that we have these problems. And if you can have the realization that the things that you did cause the problems, if you can have that realization, not everybody can have that realization, but if you can have that realization and you realize that the problems were caused by your actions, then you control the power. Because at that point, you can change. You can change the things that you did, because once you realize that it's the actions that you did that caused where you are today, you can change those actions and cause a new future. I mean, this is the magic that all of the ancients were trying to pass down, because people don't realize that you are not your past. Right now, we are the accumulation of the things that we did in the past, but the future is unwritten, and you can change. You can change at any time. You're not nice, you're not mean, you're not angry. You're that for a small moment, and then you change. And so a lot of us get it's like we do things consistently in the past and we think, well, that's just the way I am. No, it's not the way you are. You're the way you are is however you want you to be. And if you want to change today, you can change today. And tomorrow you'll be different. And so now you'll say, I am this. And so whatever comes after the phrase, I am, whatever comes after that, you're programming your brain to believe that. And so if you're telling yourself, I am stupid, or I'm slow, or I'm fat, or I'm not a good friend, or I'm not a good wife, or not a good husband, if you tell yourself these things and or even think them, you'll start to believe it. And that's the problem. It's this negative self-talk that keeps people back and keeps you down, and it's like it steals the power from you. All right, we got Melanie here. Says, I'm 3 months post-op, Lipo 360 and BBL. So happy with the leap I took. Trust the process and eat healthier. Tons of water. It's funny because I try to make this so simple. It really is not that hard. Okay, it's hard, but it's not that hard. Okay, the challenge is having the discipline to show up every day and do what you're supposed to do for you. It's all for you. It's not for I found this the other day, not the other day, but I've been realizing this for years now. But one of our previous patients was a social worker, and I know from my experience, and I talk to all my patients, thousands of them. While I'm sucking out the fat, I'm talking to them, and I can't tell you how many social workers we've had. But the social workers have a very similar story to most women in general that have kids. So women that have kids, social workers, both of them, they tend to be selfless, meaning they give so much of themselves that they don't leave anything else for them. And so they feel like they lose themselves, and they've given so much away, and they neglect what they should be doing for themselves in order to help more people. Now, that might sound noble. That might sound, well, I have to give, or I don't want to be selfish. And these are the girls they believe that if they do stuff for themselves, that they're selfish. So that's the problem, because if you don't do the things that are necessary for you, no one else is going to do them. So if you don't drink the proper amount of water, no one's going to do it for you. If you don't get up and work out, no one else is going to do it for you. If you don't choose to eat the right foods, no one's going to do it for you. So if you are not able to fulfill those things, the simple things, the basic functions for you to survive and thrive, if you're not able to take care of yourself first, then you're going to constantly deplete yourself. And I like to think of this like a cup, right? And when your cup is full, you have a lot to give to other people. Okay, but when you keep giving and giving and giving, your cup gets empty. You have to fill your cup in order to give to others. And what I would suggest is give to yourself so much to where you're overflowing. And when you start to overflow, it's easy. It's abundance. You can give everything to everyone and help everybody. And you can help so many people just because you're overflowing because you've helped yourself so much. So what does that mean? What are the things that only you can do? Only you can work out. Only you can read the books. Only the books that you read are the ones that you're going to benefit from. Only you can drink the right water. Only you can choose to be nice to other people, right? And develop friendships. You can't expect that other people are going to come to you and develop the friendship. That's a losing battle. If you're waiting for other people to develop the friendship for you, you may not have any friends. So you can take control of these things, these basic functions, right? So drinking plenty, exercising, or some type of movement that you're getting around, eating the right foods, spending time with friends and family, then developing relationships so you can have more love in your life. Whether it's from love from the friends, love from your kids, love from your spouse, you have to give to get. And the focus has to be on what you can do. Now, instead of, I know I just said that a lot of these women, they struggle because they give too much. Okay. So stop thinking of the dichotomies because you can do all of it. You can give and you can take. It's a give and take relationship. It's a circle. And so as you give more, people will give back to you. And you have to be willing to accept it. You have to be able to accept what other people give to you. Because imagine you're giving to everybody else. If they never give back to you, it's a net loss to you. So they're taking from you. Your cup is getting empty. Kids are like leeches. They take everything from you. You know that. I know that. And mothers, especially, is what I noticed. It was usually around when their kids are like 14, 15, when they start realizing this is total bullshit. They've taken everything from me. They take your money, they take your car when they're old enough. They take, they use your house. They take everything from you. They take your time. If any of you have kids that are in sports, like that's your whole weekend, right? And then you got to take them to their practices, and they take everything. And then, when you're younger, you're like, I want to have kids, and you're all excited, but then you get kids, and you're like, oh my God, it's so much work, and it's so much time, and so much money and effort, and but you're committed to it, so you give everything, right? And you feel compelled to do that, and that's great, and I get it, but at the same time, you can't keep giving if your cup's empty. So you got to start filling your cup, and in some cases, liposuction is one of those things that we can fill you up to the point where you start to feel confident. And because once you start feeling more confident about yourself, you can then start giving back more, which means you're more motivated to work out, you're more motivated to eat the right food, you're more motivated to do the things that are healthiest for you. But you gotta kind of get to this point where you feel, are you Semitic? What does that mean? Okay.
I was talking about your race.
My race?
Yeah, you have a J face.
What does that mean?
I think Jewish.
Okay. I don't know. And they said yuck. Like, is that a bad thing? Wouldn't that be anti-Semitic?
Right.
That's illegal. Did you know that the Jews, they came up with the term anti-Semitic, and they were the only race that it's illegal to speak bad about them.
Oh wow!
Right.
Really?
So if I'm public and I'm speaking bad about black people, I get I get whatever. Everybody says
right, but it's not illegal.
It's racist. It's
but it's
illegal.
not. But it's not illegal.
But if you talk about Jewish people publicly, it's illegal, and you can go to jail.
Wow.
Crazy, right? And plus, they in the media they smash you.
Yeah.
So
you don't talk bad about anybody.
No.
You smash.
My cousins, I have Jewish cousins, I have Jewish relatives, But I guess they're talking about it, and maybe
it's a nice face.
Whatever.
Right. It was.
I think I'm good looking.
Right.
I got confidence. Okay. Melanie says, I want to come back from my upper back and bra area. When you feel better, ladies, you will isolate less. You isolate less. That's one of the key things that I've found, and I call it hiding. That When you're bigger and you don't have confidence and you don't want to be seen by people, it's like you start hiding. When you got like a big chin and you don't want to take pictures, so you hide behind other people. Women will turn sideways because you may look leaner, but at some point when you get big enough, it's that turning sideways thing doesn't work anymore. So you start wearing baggier clothes because things don't fit your frame properly. I mean, this is a good example. This is Blanquita, one of my favorites. You can see when she was heavier, she wore these loose hanging dresses, whereas when she's now has a waistline and a figure, she wants to show it off, and so that's when you start wearing the more fitted clothing. And so, I wouldn't say the word addictive to whether to looking good, but it's one of those things that it releases that happy chemical in our bodies, the norepinephrine and dopamine, and it makes you feel better. And if you can feel better, you'll continue to do the things that make you feel better. So when you start looking good, it's addictive in the sense that you feel better about yourself and you want to do more of those things that make you feel better. And so then you start learning that, well, if I start eating right, I start looking even better. And that's addictive. It's the happy chemical. When you start exercising more and all these things that make you improve, it's the steady improvement. It's the never-ending improvement. It's constant. You have to continue to improve. If you continue to improve, you'll find happiness, because it's the happiness and the success and the overcoming your obstacles and the achievement. You feel better when you improve. And so to improve, you got to put in the work. Nothing's just given to you in life, and you already know that. Nothing's just given to you. And even if it was just given to you, you wouldn't appreciate it. So, like getting this procedure, it costs money, but then you appreciate it. When you're able to stick to some of these habits and you see the results, you appreciate the results because you have to bust your ass to get to there. And so don't expect that things are just given to you, because you won't appreciate it and you won't stick to it. And you won't have the value that makes you feel better and that elevates your confidence. So don't be afraid to work hard, because that's where the strength comes from. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You've heard these quotes before, but that it's true. Okay. This is funny. This person says I'm definitely a J, and again I'm assuming he means Jewish, but
Right.
And he's confirming that if you talk bad about them, it's a chair for you. Yeah, that's interesting stuff. I don't hate anybody. I got love, nothing but love. And it's like I believe in the law of attraction, and that you get what you put out into the world. So I try to only put good stuff out there, and that's obviously I'm not perfected at that point to where I'm only positive. I still fall victim to my responses and reactions, and my triggers, as all of us do. There's times when my kids trigger me, and I'm just like, I snap, I'm like, and I start yelling and doing my thing, and I'm not even thinking it. And afterwards, like, oh my God, what did I do? Why did I do that? And that's habits. That's a habit. That's a bad habit. And so those are some things that that's a habit, just like not drinking enough water is a bad habit, like eating the wrong food's a bad habit. Like all these things are habits. So if you can break the habit, you can change the future. And it's almost like, if you think about this like planting a seed. So you plant the seed today and you nurture and water it, and eventually it blooms and blossoms. And our lives are the same way. You plant a positive seed today and it will bloom and grow over time, and it gets better and better and better. And your confidence will do the same thing. If you start planting these little seeds all around your life, these positive seeds around you, it just continues to get better. I've been doing this for years now, and it's so much fun to be able to influence others to do positive things in their lives. And I can't tell you how many people, this simple water thing, right? Just drink more water. I can't tell you how many people I've influenced to change their life and drink more water. And not only that, they come back to me a year later and tell me, holy crap, it's changed everything about me. I love it. My skin's so much better. I feel better. In general, your body works better. You're able to lose weight when you're drinking more water because your body's functioning. Yeah, Punkcast 909. You and Don were both there. That's amazing. You guys are both here on the live. I'm glad you guys get to connect. And if you're not part of the private Facebook group, you definitely get on our private Facebook group. Even those of you on Instagram, you got to go get on the private Facebook group. We have individuals there, previous patients who are sharing their stories, sharing their journeys, and it's good to hear other people's stories because you start to realize that there's not just one story here. It's not just you come and get the procedure and you get some results. Everybody has a little bit different story of how they got here. Everybody has a different story of how the procedure went. Everybody has a different story of how the recovery went. So it's more about accumulating these stories in your mind so when you go through the process, you can understand what's possible. It's possible for lots of things to happen. It's possible for good things and possible for bad things, and you have to understand both sides because it's all possible. And what I mean by that is afterwards in the recovery process, it's possible that things go fantastic and everything's smooth and easy and no challenges and you're barely any swelling and you get the results in a short period of time and you're back to working out and everything's great. That's possible. Okay. With that said, it's also possible that you're very, very swollen, you're sore, you're lightheaded and dizzy afterwards. You're going to be lack of energy and you're going to want to lay around a lot. It's possible to get infections after. All these things are possible. It doesn't happen for everybody, but when you start to realize what's possible, you'll start to prepare and make sure that the negative stuff doesn't happen. So if we know that infection is possible, then you try to do everything you can to alleviate that and decrease your risk factors, decrease the chances. Forming a blood clot's possible. So you do everything that you can to decrease your chances of getting a blood clot. So you're wearing compression garments, you're walking around regularly, you're massaging your calf area, and you do the things that are necessary. It's less likely, and you'll decrease your risk of getting something like that. You're late. What's going on? We're talking liposuction, fat transfer, losing your tummy tuck. Okay, Miss Hardhead, where are you located? We are in Las Vegas. We're about 20 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip in a town called Henderson, and it's like the same thing as Vegas. It's right next to it. Okay, which procedure were you talking about? So we do liposuction, which is the removal of fat. We do fat transfer, which is the transplantation of fat from one area to another. So we'll perhaps take it from your belly and add it to your butt or your breast. We also do skin tightening. Awesome picture here. This is a lot of people are so concerned about the hanging skin, and this is just a phenomenal example of what is possible and how well the skin tightens up. So you can see these very, very large arms, and now they're not so large, and you can see how well that skin tightens up. Now it's like a law of physics in that the reason why the droopiness of the skin and the belly, the arms, the chin, any of these places, if you think about it, is gravity. Gravity pulls down. Gravity pulls down on the belly. Gravity pulls down on the arms. It's constant pulling down for decades. That's why you get the looseness of the skin. So what happens when you take away the mass, the volume, the weight that gravity is pulling against? What happens if we take that away? Inevitably, it has to shrink up. It has to. It has to. There's no question of whether will it do it or not. It always does. And you can see that it's not just an empty sack of skin like the plastic surgeons want you to believe. That's not true. It's never true. Now, she definitely is significantly smaller. The skin's not perfect, but it's way better. It's way better than what it was before. And the improvement is just that. It's an improvement. and you can't expect perfection. Now, some people, they might achieve, amazing, whatever we might call perfect results, but that's not normal. And the truth, we're doing a procedure that we're physically removing fat cells, and fat cells are like little marbles under the skin. And so we're expected to remove that in a fashion to where it's smooth, because the skin's like paper. It just lies on top of whatever's underneath there. So we have to remove the fat in a way so where it's smooth to where that paper lays on top and it's gonna look nice and smooth. It's damn near impossible to get it perfect. So if your expectations are perfection, you're gonna be disappointed. But look at these results. I mean, this is not perfect, but it's fucking awesome. I mean, it's like you gotta be grateful for what you get. And if you don't want to take any risk, then you stay the way you are, and that's the way life works. Either you take the risk and you go for it, or you stay the way that you are, and the choice is always yours. And so, don't expect that it's other people's responsibility to make your life better. You are the only one that's going to make your life better. You're the only one that's going to make the decision whether you want to get these type of procedures. You're the only one that's going to make the decision whether you're going to change your negative habits and add on positive habits. You're the only one that will do it for you. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else. At least not for very long. See, I see Dawn and punk ass 909. I like saying that, punk ass 909. Okay. Let's see. Miss Hardhead, can I join? If so, add me. I'm assuming you're talking about the private Facebook group, and yes, you can join. Anybody can join. It's just go on there and you search for My Shape Lipo support group, and you're gonna simply I think it's a, what do they call it? A request.
Yes, request to join.
Request to join, and you'll fill out. There's like a couple questions or something like that. Then you'll get in. And as long as you're nice, and as long as you're posting positive stuff, we're not gonna say anything. You can free will, do whatever you want. However, Facebook still limits everything. So we're still living in a world of where we're censored. Okay, so Punkcast 909 and Don are talking, and Punkcast 909 says, "I'm good, a little sore, but not bad as all. Just walking a lot and drinking lots of water." Good to hear. And Dawn, she says she's doing great. Let's see, it's good to hear you're doing well. I'm doing well, just sore as well, but not what I anticipated to be. That's good. So basically both of them, these two individuals that just had the procedures yesterday, two individuals that had it yesterday, they're saying it's not as bad as they thought it was going to be. So those of you that are out there, like your fear is stopping you from moving forward, it's good for you to hear this, that it's not everybody that struggles. It's not everybody that has a hard time. So it's good to hear the stories when people are successful and the process is easy, because it lets you know that is possible. That in fact you can have these results, and you don't have to be so scared that it's gonna I know people are so scared the procedure is going to be miserable, the recovery is going to be terrible, and that just the thought process about that anticipating that causes the fear, and in many cases the fear will stop you from taking action. And if you don't take the action, you don't get the results. Plain and simple. That's just the way the life works. And this is everything in life. If you don't take the risk, you don't take the actions, you're not going to get the results. You're not going to get you're not going to get the treasure, the gold, whatever it is that you're looking for. Metaverse Rich. All right, what's up, Lorena? Miss Hunts, Baby's 87. Antonella, I'm sorry, I don't no hablo español un poquito. But you can call our office, and we do have Spanish speakers there. They can help in Spanish. And when we do, you can also sign up for consultations, and we have Spanish speakers that'll do the consultation. Okay. Someone mentioned that they said it was a great mentor. And I like hearing that. I feel like I'm filling that role of mentor for a lot of people. However, I want to share that all of our previous patients, particularly the ones that are on the private Facebook group, they are serving as mentors for future individuals that are looking to change their lives. Because it's it's one thing for me to talk about life transformations and this, but if I've never gone through a life transformation, how would I know, right? Well, the truth is that I personally went through a life transformation. I lost 40 pounds, and I worked out really hard, and I achieved. Okay, so I know how that happens. I know how to do it, and I know the level of struggle that it takes to get to that point. So I can share. So can all these other people in our group that have had the procedure. They've gone through their struggles. They've had whatever level of achievement that they've had, and they continue to achieve, which that achievement then gives them credibility and knowledge, perhaps wisdom, you might say, to help others to shuffle along the path. And so we're all trying to reach this goal of self-actualization or self-improvement. Be the best that we can be for whoever you are, whatever you do. You just become the best that you can be, and that's all you can do. And everybody has their different potentials, right? Some people have the potentials like Elon Musk to change the world, with Tesla, or Steve Jobs from Apple. They have the potential to change the world. Maybe you do too. And what happens if you have that potential but you don't achieve it? It's like a waste. You're just you'll at the end of your life you'll feel like you wasted your life. You have regret. So all I'm suggesting is that let's try to meet your self-actualization. Let's meet your self-improvement goals. Let's be the best that you can be. Live your best life now, so you don't have regrets later. Be your best life now, so you don't die early. So you're functional for a longer period of your life. Now, it would suck even if you lived to be 100 years old, but it would suck that if good 40 years of that you were stuck in a wheelchair because you got diabetes and they had to cut your leg off. That would suck, right? What kind of life is that? And is that the life that you want to live? So you make choices now that will affect you tomorrow, that will affect you 10 years from now, that will affect you 20 years from now. Now, another thing that I want you to think about is that technology is changing at a rapid pace right now. Medicine is changing at a rapid pace right now. And the capabilities of what we're able to do currently are constantly improving. And we're at a point where everything is going so fast that it's likely that our kids today will have a much longer lifespan. And we're coming up, there's new things that are helping to, shall we say, rejuvenate the body and replenish what was lost. And so your old organs can be improved, your everything can be improved. And as time goes on, technologies are going to improve. So the longer you can live, the more likely there's going to be technology that'll help you rejuvenate, that'll help you live longer. So think about it like that right now you got to do everything that you can do to be your best, which will allow you to live longer, which will allow you to take advantage of future technologies. And if you have that thought process, you'll start to realize that you might actually be able to live significantly longer than you anticipated. A lot of us think that the average lifespan is like 80 whatever years old or 70 something years old. And you may have relatives, like my grandma died at 87, my dad died at 74. And for me, I would say, well, I want to live like my grandma, right? But that's not really the choice. And it's not even, it doesn't even matter, because the truth is by the time I'm 74, that's going to be, 30 years from now. And, I'm healthy. And I'm living a healthy life. And if I continue to live a healthy life, then most likely I should be able to live longer, right? And then hopefully by that time, 20, 30 years from now, there's going to be incredible technologies that will help rejuvenate my body and help me live even longer. There are new medical treatments and medications and modalities, and there's all these cool things that are coming up that are helping people to live their best life and to be healthy. And so it's totally up to you. And the only reason I say these things is really is to get you excited about the possibilities that you possess, that we all possess. We all possess these potentials to do great things. It's just the question is, what are you going to do with it? What's your response to your abilities? So you have certain abilities, we all do. Now, what is your response to them? Some people, they allow them to go to waste. And then other people will look at them and like, they'll shake their head. What a waste. It's a shame. They feel bad. And that person, maybe when they die, they're going to regret that they just wasted. They wasted their potential. And I personally don't want to waste my potential. I don't want to regret anything in my life. So I try to do everything. And I try to do the best that I can always so that I can reach my full potential. And even in doing so, I know I can do better. I always know I can do better. And so the next time I try a little bit harder. I push the limits a little bit further. I try to improve just a little bit more. And if you think about it, if you're on a constant level of improvement, what happens in 10 years if you're constantly improving? You're 1,000% better. If you can do, 1% improvement every day, in 365 days, you're 365% better. It's dramatic. You can have dramatic change fairly quickly with small improvements. Small improvements. Now, there was a story, the old coach of the Lakers, Pat Riley, he talked about how when they won one of their championships back in, I think it was the 80s or 90s, and afterwards they're like, what are we going to do to get any better? And so the next year they ended up, it was after they won the championship, they struggled, and people were like, wow, we're as good as we can get, right? So they didn't work as hard, and they ended up not making it to the finals the next year. And so Pat Riley had this speech where he told the players that, look, I just want you to improve just 1% every week. So does that mean your free throws? I want you to improve your statistics by 1% every week. Your steals, just improve by 1% every week. And in doing so, by the end of the season, they were 40-50% better. And with 40-50% better, they won championships. And that's what made the difference. And it's just a small improvement every week. Small improvement. A little bit better. A little bit better. A little bit better. And once you get there, you realize that I can do a little bit better. It's not that hard. I can do a little bit better. So stop. You got to implement this mindset into your life where everything that you do, you're just constantly trying to improve it. Even like I do this with my kids. We go on vacations and I call it my debrief. At the end of the vacation, I debrief them and I talk to them like, what did you like? What did you not like? And so the next vacation, I want to, eliminate the things that we don't like and do more of the things that we do like, right? So let's make it better. Just another example, right? Keep improving. Okay, Carito 906. Getting my lipo on Monday, super excited and nervous. Well, you can talk. There was two people from yesterday that had their procedure. You don't have to be so nervous. Be excited. More excited than nervous. Yeah, see there, punk ass 909 says, don't be nervous. You'll do just fine. Okay, can you get a 6-pack after procedure? Absolutely, it's possible. Absolutely. And the only reason that I say that is because I did. However, caveat, you don't get a 6-pack by doing liposuction. You get a 6-pack by doing exercises. You work out your muscles. The 6-pack comes from the muscles. And you won't get the 6-pack if you don't do the exercises. I know that firsthand because I got liposuction, and it wasn't until about 8 or 9 years after I got liposuction that I actually attained the 6-pack, and it wasn't from the liposuction, it was from doing the exercise. But it is possible, and I'm 45, and so it is possible. Age doesn't matter. It's the work. If you put in the work, you can get it. And liposuction helps because if you think about it, if the muscles are there, if you have this layer of fat, if it's thick enough, you won't see the muscles. But if we're able to get that layer thin enough, you'll see the muscles through. But you got to have the muscles. That's the key. Now, you may have been talking about crystal roulette. You may have been talking about they have these techniques where they talk about they're going to carve, the six pack out of the fat. And to me, and this is just a personal opinion, to me that's doesn't make sense because fat is not the same as muscle. It's not going to look the same as muscle, and it's not going to act the same as muscle. And the problem becomes even more important is when if you ever gained weight after doing something like that, the fat cells will expand and it'll look weird. So you have to, if you did choose to go that route and carving, the shape of muscles out of the fat, you would have to maintain that the rest of your life, or else it's going to look weird. So highly don't recommend doing that. I don't, I've never done that stuff. Hola, look at your curls. Love the new do. Thank you. So, my kids have been growing their hair out for like well over a year. Both of them have really long hair. My oldest son has like really kinky corkscrew hair. It's like big afro. So it's a little bit different. And then my middle son has longer hair and it's straight and he wears back in a ponytail. So as you can see, my hair is curly. It's not the corkscrew curl, but it's kind of like this wavy curl. I've had my hair longer when I was younger, but my kids and my wife both asked me to grow my hair out, and I really don't want to. It's a pain in the ass to have to, you girls know. I mean, you girls do it every day, dealing with it, putting product and conditioner and, making sure it's taken care of and it looks right. And, I get embarrassed if it's out of place or whatever, so I don't love having hair, but I'm going to ride this out and see how it works out. So thank you for saying that, though. All right. So Carla Vet was asking Punkcast 909 how long the procedure, and her procedure was about 2 hours. Yeah, so we work pretty quick with this stuff. Everyone's a little bit different, right? So obviously, in everyone's different in that sometimes the procedures go a lot faster than other times. Sometimes it's a lot easier than other times, and a lot of this is just like the texture and quality of the fat. It's just sometimes it's a challenge. Sometimes it's difficult, and we do the best that we can, regardless, who or what you are. We just do the best that we can. And in some cases it's easy, sometimes it's not. Sometimes we're limited. Most cases we're not. But we do work very fast, and ideally nobody will be on the table for more than 3 hours. That's ideal. And I think that if we're able to hit those marks and those time intervals that people do better, the faster we do the procedures, the better the patient does. And think about this. Once we start the procedure, we start doing the liposuction where it's causing trauma to the body, and theoretically there's a slow bleed once you get started. Now all the medication constricts the blood vessels, so there's very little bleeding, but theoretically there's a slow bleed. So the longer you're on the table without the compression garment on, the longer you're on there, the more you're bleeding theoretically, and the more potential complications you could have after the procedure. So the faster that we're able to get you out of the procedure room and get the compression garments on, the better that you're going to do. Thank you, Punkass 909. Okay. All right, we got a couple things here. Melanie's being pretty active. When you feel better. Okay. Carolina says, I'm going for my lipo on Monday. So excited. Okay. Man, something's up with Facebook. I don't know if you guys are just not being active, but nobody's asking questions. What's up, Chuya? Sophisticated J. Watch all I wonder. Rachel Garcia, what's up? Crystal Love. Ahora soy yo. Mel Garzas. Leslie Castro, what's up? Trish Main. I appreciate all you guys for jumping on here today. And, you know, if you have any questions, definitely here to answer them for you. Otherwise, you'll hear me talk. I'll just talk. I like to talk motivational stuff, inspirational stuff. I did have a good holidays. I spent my time in Mexico, one of my favorite places. And surprisingly, I don't speak Spanish. You'd think I would, because I grew up playing soccer with all my friends they weren't necessarily Mexicans. When soccer players are all, you know, a lot of Hispanic, Latin people, but you know, a lot of them spoke Spanish, and so I speak like a broken Spanish English, and most of it is I speak it enough to play soccer, which is I know all the words to get by in my sport. But I love Mexico, love Mexican people, a lot of good friends. So at some point, I started taking Spanish in high school, and I started doing. They had these apps that you can learn, so I started doing that. But it's tough to learn a language as you get older. It's like I think in English, you know. See, I appreciate you doing daily lives. You know, I appreciate you guys coming here. You know, it's not. I do enjoy just the ability to connect with you and to share my experience, because I know that, you know, when you're making these decisions, they're big decisions, and in many cases you need inspiration, you need motivation to push you over this hump that you're at in this life, these challenges that you're facing. And I know that it's nice to have somebody that can give you hope. And in many cases, when you go other places, you get turned down, or they tell you they can't help you, or they say that your BMI is too high, or you're going to have an empty sack of skin and we have to do a tummy tuck, and you don't want to do a tummy tuck. You know, and it gets depressing, you know, and you feel like there's no hope for you. So I like to be the one to shine the light on this stuff and open your eyes to make you realize that what is actually possible for you is far beyond what you believed. And you are far greater than what you believed you were. And if you want to be anything, you want to be confident, you want to be better looking, you want to have more friends, you want to be an inspiration to others. It's all possible. You want to have success in your work, in your business. It's all possible, and much of it comes from your confidence level. And if we can improve your confidence level, your potential skyrockets, and your self-worth skyrockets. And what is the value to that? You can't calculate it. You can't calculate it, because for everyone it's a little bit different. There's some individuals that are going to take this, life like, the bull by his horns and just conquer. And other people are going to be slow rollers. And you're going to take time, you're going to watch like 50,000 of these videos and be like, oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? And you're trying to decide. And in that time period, you didn't do shit. So it's better to go and make a mistake, but keep moving forward. Because mistakes aren't really mistakes. They're learning experiences. So if you try a diet and it doesn't work for you, that's great. You figured out one more thing that didn't work for you. So you're one step closer. They talked about like inventors like Thomas Edison, and they say it took him 1,000 different experiments to get to the light bulb and to figure out exactly, what he needed to do. And every time he failed, they said, how did you keep going? You failed 1,000 times. And he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I figured out 1,000 ways I can't make a light bulb, or I figured out 1,000 ways it didn't work. And that should be your same mindset, your same mentality that you go through your life, is that it's not a failure, it's a lesson. And so if you start to detach from the outcome, meaning it has to be good or it has to be positive, because if it doesn't have to be positive, I'm okay with worst case scenario. If this procedure doesn't go well and maybe that I don't get enough fat out of there, I'm okay, because I'm going to keep working hard and doing other things. If you're okay with the positive, okay with the negative, you just have to roll with it and just hope for the best and do everything that you can to prepare and hope for the best. But if you don't try, you'll guarantee failure. It's guaranteed you won't get the improvement. Guaranteed. if you don't try something. And whether it's, when I say try something, maybe it's trying diet, maybe it's trying exercise, maybe it's trying some non-surgical something. Try whatever you can, whatever you want. And if it doesn't work for you, then you figured out what doesn't work. And then you got to try something else, try something different. And maybe now's the time that you're ready to try liposuction. Maybe you tried all these other things and you're so sick and tired of nothing working for you, and you want something like drastic change. Well, liposuction is drastic, and it works every time. Every time. We get fat out every time. There's not a single patient that I don't get fat out. Not a single patient. And there's not a single patient that doesn't see some results. And as you see the pictures, most of these people are getting phenomenal results. And these aren't our pictures. These are real patients that posted real pictures of themselves. So the choice is yours. It really is. You get to choose today whether you want to change your life for tomorrow. And it just takes some simple actions. If you're ready to move forward, you're ready to change your life, you're ready to start this transformation that starts today, the next step is getting your consultation. And you can click on the link up on Facebook, paid consultation, $100. It'll get you your consultation in the next few days. You get your quote, get your number, and then schedule the procedure. And then your life is moving. It's like you're finally on a path. Okay, you get off of this standing still. Because when you stand still, just trying to keep everything the same, it's a slow decline. It's a slow, low downhill. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. There's very few people that stand still like that. It's not like that. Imagine it's like if you're not working out, you're not really standing still. You're going downhill. Your muscles are getting weaker. You're gaining weight. You're not doing the right thing. It's a slow downhill decline. Imagine if you were a slow increase, your slow improvement, you're slowly getting better, and then you multiply that by decades, and that's where you get the phenomenal, life-changing, unbelievable, holy crap results. Like you're a completely different person than you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That's how that happens. It's the steady improvement. Melanie says, I was surprised at the amount of fat removed. That happens often. We remove a lot of fat. She says, you can't lose taking this chance. It's worth every cent. That's good to hear. Well, thank you so much for jumping on here today. Melanie, thank you for sharing everything. Punkass 909. And who is the other one? Dawn, Kelly Dawn. Thank you for jumping on here and sharing your experience with us. Hope you guys are doing well. I know, Punkass 909 and Dawn, you guys just had your procedure, and I hope you're doing well. Hope you're improving. Again, I'm always here for you guys. You have my cell phone number. All the patients get my cell phone number, so 24 hours a day, if you want to get a hold of me, you can. You ever need me to see pictures of anything, it's super simple. Just text me. Technology is great. Nowadays, it works easy. So thank you for jumping on. I appreciate you for coming here today, engaging, asking questions, and being involved with our community, and especially our previous patients. I'm so grateful that you've decided to help other people. And I think it gives you a lot of gratification, and you feel better about yourself when you're able to help someone else, and you're able to provide that value to someone else. So I enjoy that. I hope you enjoy that too. But again, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.